Hi, my name is Ian Epstein. I'm here with Chicago Theatre Blog for the Arthur Miller Project. I'll be talking to Chris and Craig from Infamous Commonwealth about their production of The Crucible, which is taking place now at the Raven Theatre. You guys may want to introduce yourselves just briefly, talk about what you do for Infamous Commonwealth, and we'll move to some questions.
Sure. I am Chris Maher, and I am the artistic director of Infamous Commonwealth Theatre.
Craig Thompson. I'm a company member and playing John Proctor in The Crucible.
All right, so the first question that I had is Infamous Commonwealth this season is highlighting the theme of redemption. Their seasons are all based around themes, so I was wondering if you could talk maybe a little bit about how you saw The Crucible as one of Arthur Miller's many plays that sort of spoke specifically to this idea of redemption.
I think first off we need to probably talk about the process in which Infamous Commonwealth chooses their seasons. We picked the word first. And so we came up with the word of redemption. The company voted and decided that that was the word we wanted to do for this season. And then the entire company proposes scripts that they feel fit that word. The Crucible wasn't actually even initially proposed. It was, ironically, All My Sons was the script that was proposed. But then obviously that was snatched up by some other very talented people, and they had some success with that show. So I gave the person who proposed that the opportunity to propose again, and almost immediately he was like, I don't know why I didn't just propose this initially, and he sent The Crucible in. And I think that, and I think that Craig can talk to this as well, but I think that ultimately Proctor's whole journey is this journey towards redemption. I think it's a personal redemption, and getting to play the role every night. I think you could probably talk to that as well.
Yeah, well, once the company started discussing all the scripts, it became a little bit of a no-brainer. It was probably one of our easiest seasons to pick in the 9 that we've had. So certainly the rehearsal process helped me understand a lot more the redemption that happens. I mean, it's a very intense story and role, and it's easy to not make the end. My instinct as an actor was to not be quite so redeemed at the end, just because it's so emotionally charged. But I think the place we were able to get to with it, I was able to get to with it thanks to Chris's help, was very redeemed and very relieved. So I mean, the show is all about redemption.
I saw the play this past Saturday. It was very good. I really liked it. I was wondering, it is sort of like a long 4-act play, and that's sort of unusual given the current audience. But the pacing of it was really something that was quite remarkable about the play. So I was wondering if you could talk to sort of what you went through to get to that level of speed and intensity, and hold it up for as long as the play.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be quite honest with you about it. I had a stopwatch on my iPhone, and I started using it pretty darn early. Because I think that this is a play with a lot of pitfalls in it, and I think that there are so many exclamation points, and every moment is if you go the wrong way with it, it can be this heightened thing that's all the way up here, and I think that from the start we were very mindful of taking the journey and slowly, gradually bringing it up. I think that there are spikes in each act, certainly, but you really have to be able to give yourself room to go. Otherwise, the audience, you're going to lose them after about a half hour. And you're right. I mean, I think each act is probably averages about 35 minutes, and especially with the decision to, because it is such a long script, the decision to only take one intermission. I just wanted to make damn sure that the thing moved. And I think I appreciate you saying that. I think that that's something that we did pretty successfully.
And that was something that Chris was pushing up until the final dress rehearsal. I mean, it was, pace, keep it moving, push it forward was always a note that we were getting. And I think one of the great things about Arthur Miller is how vividly he writes things for actors. Stage directions he goes crazy with emotionally, not movement-wise, which is great as an actor. But it's also, you have to fight against getting indulgent with those stage directions a little bit. And I think Chris was really wise about which moments he said, okay, this can slow down here, this can slow down here, and anytime we didn't have those, it was a move, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we sacrificed clarity, you know, to make sure the thing moved.
No.
I definitely, but in all, I mean, the thing that, you know, Craig and I obviously talked about a lot was, you know, really, because I think there are moments in the play, you know, specifically I think in the fourth act, where, you know, there are some really quiet, long pieces, you know, in that act that just sort of happen, and I was really, really aware of kind of earning those moments, and so, you know, the rest of the play really has to be tight in order for those emotional moments, those quiet little moments between Elizabeth and John, you know, to be able to successfully, you know, take place. And I can't say enough about how, you know, how well Craig and the rest of the cast do in terms of really hitting everything they need to hit, but not, you know, just taking forever to do it.
Go ahead, keep going.
The other, another part that I really liked about the show was sort of the sparsity of the design, and how well matched and sort of elemental the set was to the 4 different locations. I think there are 4 different locations, and also sort of how well matched it was with the costume, because it is a period piece. I mean, Arthur Miller sort of was like 1692. This is where we are. So I was wondering if you could speak to sort of conversations that came up during the design or process, or.
Well, I mean, I think that 2 things kind of right from the start were helping me along with where I wanted to take the design of this. And A, the Puritans are very simple, very basic. I mean, honestly, you know, that's how they are. There's nothing garish about them. There just isn't. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is, you know, this idea that this play has been done so many times. I don't care how many bells and whistles we were going to throw into this thing. We're not going to bring out anything, you know, groundbreaking or new about it. So the approach right from the start was to tell it as simply and as cleanly as possible, because truly, I mean, it is. I know I'm a bit biased, but it's to me Miller's masterpiece, because there's not a moment wasted. Everything. I mean, you know, so yes, you're talking that it's a 2.5-hour play, but it's not boring because there's something happening at every moment, and so I didn't need to, you know, put giant projections on the screen or, you know, anything like that. I think we just needed to tell it as simply and honestly as possible, and, you know, I think I couldn't be more fortunate to have Craig playing Proctor, because that's exactly what he does with the role.
All right. I guess the fourth sort of thing that I'd like to talk about with you a little bit is just sort of larger, sort of where we are in 2010. Arthur Miller now is sort of fallen in line with the maybe sort of the preeminent playwright from that period when he was writing. I was wondering if you could talk about maybe just like working with this language, Arthur Miller as a playwright, sort of what about the Crucible resonates, particularly with where we are now.
Yeah, toss that one over to me. Well, as an actor, working with this language is great. It's a wonderful cross between, at least in this play, a cross between like classical, you know, Shakespeare. It's a weird morphing of like modern language and a classical kind of language, and being able to play with those words is really fun, you know. And it's not hard to. It doesn't require a lot of study to understand. I think it takes a little bit of time for the audience to click in with what's being said, but once they do, I think it pretty much rolls and comes pretty easily. But and I don't know that Arthur Miller would ever become non-relevant, but I think he's, you know, super relevant now too.